My dear Diana, and anyone else who's listening to this, um, I have three little kids and two puppies running around outside, and we're going to get ready to go. I am not ready for the day here. Um, and we're going to run some errands, and then, well, that's what we're going to do. So, I'm making this video as a response to your email that you sent me this morning. And for anybody listening, my dear Diana, um, turned to her drug yesterday, like we can all relate to, and then she processed what happened and maybe why, what got her to take that first bite or that first nibble, and that's such a healthy thing to do. Diana, you are not. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as square one. We are never back to square one. You are further ahead today than you were yesterday. You're further ahead today than you were when you had your longest streak, because this is a process. This is a process of understanding what's going on with our bodies, what's going on with our minds. And clearly your mind, mine too, by the grace of God, I'm on day 12 today. And I now have an emergency action plan. I'm further along on my journey, but I'm still hiking. I'm still journeying. So I tell people there's no such thing as square one. You're never back to square one because you're further along than you were. You've experienced more than you had. I tell people there's no such thing as gaining your weight back. You lost your weight. You gained new weight back. And a lot of times it's because you had a whole lot of life happen. So that's not back to square one. Don't let the enemy or your own self or your own, your negative habits of thinking, negative thought habits, don't let any of that convince you, well, gee, now I'm back to where I was. No, you're not. Because every single day you're a day older, and every single day you've experienced more. So every single day you are further along on your journey. Yes, sometimes we, whether we intentionally or unintentionally, veer off and just off-road, and it gets kind of crazy. We don't have to do that. We have strategies that we know we can turn to keep our vehicle moving on a straighter course. But we can learn from all of those bumps in the road. So, Diana, thank you. Thank you for emailing me. Thank you for feeling safe with me. Thank you for letting me, it's just a beautiful thing what you're allowing me to do, to speak to you and you to me, girl. This is mutual. And then turn around and share in case it might help someone else. So I want to address a couple things from your awesome email, and you are in the process of processing. Again, celebrate that today you're further along than you were yesterday. Celebrate that you have experienced more than you had a week ago, because you're learning. You're learning. I say we're like Bambi, and we're getting our we're getting our legs. We're learning to walk. We have had crutches. We have had we haven't been walking. We've been making our way with the use of substances. To take those away, we have to learn how to walk. We got to learn how to live without them. So I just want to address a couple things. You said that your addiction was telling you that you wanted to be able, that it's almost like you were rebelling, like, no, I'm not an addict. No, I can have a little, like the teenage part of you that wanted to fit in and just be like everyone else. Here's what I want to say to that. There's no such thing as everyone else. Everyone is dealing with something. I've said 1,000 times, I'm grateful to be dealing with what I'm dealing with because I watch other people journey their way through their struggles, and I would not want theirs, and I want to do what I can to do to walk alongside them and support them. And I'm at the end of the day, I'm grateful for what I'm dealing with. But everyone is dealing with something, trust me. And if they're making it look like they're not, then they are buying into this notion that we need to present ourselves to each other, which does nothing but, don't get me wrong, there's privacy. We can all have privacy, right? I don't make videos every time I have diarrhea. I don't need the world doesn't need to know, right? And I consider a lot of what I deal with my own personal, like, my husband helped me with that years ago. I said, I just hate that I have mental health problems. It's so embarrassing. And he said, Emily, that's like being embarrassed because you got diarrhea. That's all I needed to hear. He pointed out that it's nothing that I chose, but it's certainly something I want to manage. And it's not necessarily something that I need to share with the world, but I do and I will if it will help. So again, if people want to kind of keep things private, perfect. But let's all be aware that when we see perfect presentations, that's what that is. It's a presentation. People are presenting sort of a facade to the world that I've got it all together. And I tell people, I've got it all together, but never at the same time. For instance, right now, I have laundry issues, but my dishes are done, right? So it's I mean, look, we're all just trying to keep arteries from clogging. We're trying to keep things from building up around us. We're trying to keep stuff from growing, right? I'm going to tackle that later. Okay. No one fits in. Or you could think of it another way. We all fit in. We all fit into this one big group of people called human beings. All right? We're all in it. We're all trying to cope with life. We're all trying to make our way. You mentioned wanting to be elegant, almost dainty. And I so get that. And I appreciate you saying that. Like dainty, feminine, right? Like, oh, I can have a little bite of this or a little bite of that. No, we can't. We can't because we took many, many, many bites and got riverbeds in our brain, neural pathways laid out. It's science. It's all science. We can very elegantly enjoy a 6-ounce bowl of fruit. How's that? But here's what I want to say to that. Dealing with our addiction, being vulnerable, being honest, being willing to work, being willing to ACCEP, to accept the reality that there is such a thing as addiction. And if you got dopamine hit after dopamine hit on whatever it is for you, whether it's sex or gambling or cigarettes or there's a whole host of things that we can get addicted to because we used them to cope with life and then became dose dependent. It took this much to feel better, then this much to feel better, then this much to feel better. It took so much to feel better. People say addiction is when first you took it to feel good, then after a while you got to take it to feel normal. I got to where I had to get sugar in my system to quit shaking. Ding, ding, red flag, right? So it gets to the point where you realize, oh, I can't really go about my day without it. That's a problem. That's when you realize this has gotten out of whack. So to be willing to accept things about ourselves. There's a whole handful of things that I accept about myself, right? I accept that I have this birthmark on my forehead, and people think I burned my forehead with a curling iron. Nope. Would I have chosen to put a spot on my forehead, on my face? No, probably not. But over the years, I've learned to love this thing. One time I was at Walmart, and a guy came up to me. He had special needs. He was probably 45, but he acted like he was about 4. And I had met him at one Walmart, and we became friends. And then at another Walmart, he walked up to me and said, "Hey, Emily." And I said, "Adam." I'm pretty sure his name was Adam. I said, "Hi." And he said, "I knew that was you because of that spot on your head." And that's all I needed to hear. I was like, oh, that makes me love this spot on my head. You knew it was me. Anyways, let's accept the things that we cannot change. There's the serenity prayer. Let's accept the things about ourselves that make us who we are, and allow us to have empathy for others. It is ministry is the antidote to misery, like I said in my emergency action plan video. When we focus on ourselves and what we don't have and our lack, blah, 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 our lack of anything, Psalm 23, we lack nothing. We lack nothing, okay? But when we focus on what all we don't have, or we focus on ourselves, or we focus on and we compare to others, that's how you get yourself real miserable real quick. So once we love ourselves, and that love, God is love, by the way, when you have him dwelling within you and you can share that with others, that's the goal. To be a function of love, have love pour in and come out, where you can connect with other human beings. We are all one body in Christ here, and we all serve a different purpose with a different role. So we all got to bring to the table what we have to bring to the table, and we all, by design, need each other. Okay, so you talked about wanting to be elegant. Diana, that is elegant. That is beautiful. To just accept, surrender to who and how God made you, and also to who and how we are now, partly due to what we did to ourselves. We can just accept that. But again, I can see how dealing with my own addiction and seeking my own healing, like a carrot dangling, I went after my own healing, has put me in contact with wonderful people like you, Diana, and anyone else listening, or anyone else that I come across at Celebrate Recovery. This is a beautiful journey that we're on that leads not only to healing, but connection with other human beings. So let me say the world's definition of elegant is self-serving. It's a presentation. It is not a means to connect with other people. It's like wanting the world to think you've got it all together. And then if you really accomplished that, then you'd be all by yourself, because nobody has it all together all the time. And we don't want to be by ourselves. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I do. I'm by myself right now. I was like, go outside and play. Wear those puppies out because we got to put them in the crate. Go outside and play. This is kind of a nice moment alone. You get my point. Okay. Do not let the enemy tempt you into feeling embarrassed. That's your ego. I want a shirt. You know, Lego my ego? I want to take one of those G's out. Lego my ego. I pray to God, help me Lego my ego. Help me let go of the part of me that cares about what other people think of me. So anytime you feel really cool, like I wasn't that cool in high school, but I'm really cool now, or I'm really cool today, or I've got it all together, like out and about running errands, like I'm kind of got a cute little outfit on here. Anytime you feel really cool or really embarrassed, those are your ego. That's just your ego, and you can let go of it. I had a girl say something to me the other day that almost made me feel like she was probably 25 and I'm 40, and she said something real smart alecky, and I was like, well, that makes me feel like an old fart. Okay, that's my ego. If I hung out there, then I'm no good for anybody, right? If I hung out there feeling really embarrassed or really, the way she interacted with me made me feel kind of stupid and kind of mad. Again, when I'm wrapped up in my ego, I can't serve because I'm just too wrapped up in myself, which leads to what? Someone say it, misery, right? Okay, so we got to let go of our egos. We got to not be real concerned about being too cool or too stupid. Just like all that is of this world, it is solely focused on ourselves, and it's missing the point because we are not here for ourselves. We were created by God for him to get his work done. And I'm telling you, I've never been more invigorated. That's my word lately, which means energized. I've never been more energized probably in my life. I wake up in the morning pretty excited to get up and do what I do in this new body. which is serve him in whatever way he tells me to. So don't worry about being embarrassed, and the same is true. Don't worry about being really cool. Just like be obedient to God, right? Okay. I tell people we don't want to give other people the power to make our day or break our day. We want to give God the power and the authority over us, where Jesus says, deny yourself, take up your cross and follow me. I mean, the first part of that is so important. Deny yourself. Deny what you think you should have. Let's let him decide. And I'm telling you, every time I say that, it's like the best kept secret. Of course, it's not a secret. There are billions of Christians that know what I know, and that is that when we hand over, everything we have is from God. Every single thing is a resource. He is the source. I cannot take another breath without him. I did not create this DNA. I cannot take credit for this stool I'm sitting on, because the money that it's cost to buy this stool came from the hard work that my husband does, that he does with his hands and his minds, that he got from God. It all goes back to God. He's the source. Everything else is a resource. So let's trust him enough to give it back to him and say, you tell me what to do with this. Let me further your kingdom. And I promise you, there's just no greater joy than that. Ministry means to meet needs. I will tell you what I'm about to go do. I've got a car full of food, and I'm going to go give it out at the Salvation Army. If you're interested, you can hop over to my other channel. It's called Free Produce Stand. For 6 months, I gave out food once a week. My family did in an Office Max parking lot. It was a highlight of my life, and it has led to more connections in other ways to serve. So praise God, from whom all blessings flow. All right. Free Produce Stand. If you look up Free Produce Stand, you'll see videos that are like number 10, number 12, number 22, whatever. 23 was my last one. All right. Here's the final thing I want to say to you. Do this if you want. I do not personify parts of my brain. I do not. Diana, you mentioned talking to your teenager. I like to stick with the science and stick with, let's just say stick with the science. There's not a teenager in your brain. There is part of your brain that wants what it wants, and that is the part of your brain that is addicted to sugar. So that is the part of your brain that is going to try and convince you to eat it. So I just want to encourage you, rather than thinking in terms of keeping this teenager happy, let's think in terms of keeping our chemicals balanced. And we can do that in very tangible ways. We can continue on with the support that we have, which, by the way, December is coming to an end, and girl, you're not going anywhere. Okay, we can. We said we were going to commit through December. We're going to have to chat about that, because we might want to commit longer. This is going well. We can go to Celebrate Recovery. We can drink water before each meal. We can write out. We can do everything that Susan Pierce Thompson tells us to do. We can write our food out the night before when we're making our decisions with the prefrontal cortex instead of the amygdala and the hippocampus. I don't even know. Just back here. These parts that want what they want when they want it, right? So I just want to encourage you, instead of thinking in terms of a teenager that you've got to keep happy and you've got to talk to and you've got to calm her down and this and that. Let's stick with the science here and keep things in place that we know work to deal with what is happening in our brains, which is neural pathways that have been laid. It is riverbeds that are there, that if we get the water flowing back into, the water will flow, a raging river. I love how people say, while you're inside recovering, your addiction is outside doing push-ups. So you could be off something for 5 years, and the minute you decide to partake in it again, you're gonna go until you're up to here. It's not it just comes back full force, and you experience that, which again is why you are not back where you were. You are further ahead on your journey. I think that's it. Diana, I love you dearly. Thank you for letting me share this because we are in this together and you are a brave soul reaching out to me, and I sure hope you will continue to do so. This is my response to your email, and I hope that it blesses you. I hope that it blesses someone else. But we are all in this together. And in that sense, we all fit right in. I love you. Happy Wednesday. Time to get myself together and out the door.